I hope you don't have any unfortunate Flaherty tattoos. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 115 of the Anthem podcast. Whether you're listening to us on otheanthem.com, where you absolutely should be listening to us, and even if you're not, you should be checking out otheanthem.com for all your latest updates. Or if you're listening to us on your RSS feeder of choice, whether that's iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Dogcatcher, or our favorite, Pocket Cast. No matter where it is that you're listening to us, we hope that you can give us a rating and review if possible. It helps us climb the charts and helps other people find the podcast there. But welcome, once again, to episode 115.
Yep. And we just got back from the ball game.
Yes.
We're very tired.
It is late. It is late.
It is officially late.
Yes.
And by late, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can always keep up to date on what we're doing on all your social networks at The Anthem on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And in fact, we had some updates from the ballpark, one of which making reference to Corey's intro for the episode today.
Yeah, so we went to the ball game with a couple friends. Laura was there, so family as well.
Who's this now? Who's this person?
Rob introduced himself to Laura like he's never met her.
She was not amused.
She didn't get it.
She's got that Baker sense of humor. It's fine.
What?
Shared by Brendan. It's just the two of them. For some reason, you're the outlier.
I'm the one who gets a good Pussy Slayer tattoo reference.
Exactly right. And we're explicit at 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Earning that badge. Anyway, yeah, so we went to the game.
And Kurt tells me on the ride in that he made a little like side bet with a friend of his over getting if Ryan Flaherty hit a home run, for those of you who don't remember Ryan Flaherty, of one home run this season so far,
but a monster home run.
It was a big home run.
Yes.
But one home run. He said if he got if Ryan Flaherty hit a home run today, he was going to get a Flaherty-themed tattoo, which was like a 3 with a heart and stuff like that. I never heard if there was like action on the other end.
There was not. It was a one-sided bet.
Dumb. Don't do one-sided bets. Never.
But it seemed like such a sure thing.
Well, I mean, like the only way a one-sided bet works is if you are the one who can like win the one-sided.
Yeah.
Like if it's just like if I said to you like, "Oh, do you think I can make this in the trash can for like a $5?" And you were like,
"No."
Sure, you can.
Well, no, but you would win on it because neither way, either you don't pay, you don't get the 5 or nothing.
Right.
I do nothing but lose in that.
Yeah. And if I make it, I just get $5.
Right. If you miss it, you're like, well, okay.
Oh well, whatever.
Yeah. But
there's no winning, there's no losing.
Yeah.
Winning is not getting a tattoo, which didn't happen because Ryan Flaherty hit a home run in a blowout.
So again,
2 outs in the ninth.
We are recording this on Friday, so you can refer back to the abysmal 13-3 loss from Friday. We had a bit of a heart attack. I think it was in the 3rd or the 4th.
Somewhere in there.
When Ryan
it was like a second at bat.
Banged one off the top of the center field wall. And
missed by about a foot, maybe.
And there was heart attacks all around in the section. And that was interesting enough. And then Corey decided to record the last at bat just for shits and giggles.
Just in case. Because, I mean, like, if nothing happened, I could just delete it. Like, I don't need to keep a video of, like...
And I said, my favorite part of the video wasn't even his reaction.
Yeah.
It was you. It was your, like, turning it on. He realizes you're recording. You smile. And then as soon as you go back to focus on the game, it's hit. Like a kid on Christmas. Like a kid on Christmas. Oh. So make sure you're following at LegendCB5 on Twitter.
Yep.
And you can check out that video there as well.
Yep, absolutely.
As well as at The Anthem on our social networks. So make sure you check that out. But so sad. I told him, we asked him if he's going to welch on the bet. He seemed kind of wishy-washy about that. And I said, listen, just go ahead and design the cover up now. And then get it, take the picture, like, and then just get right back in the chair.
And then just get a tiger.
Just get a tiger over top of it or something. Whatever it takes. Just cover that mother up.
Yeah.
And, I'm like a NASCAR fan, so I was like, you could get that, a heart with a 3 in black and white, and then be like, it's
just do it like in the Dale Jr. or the Dale Senior.
Yeah, it's Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, I got Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, it's close to my heart. So yeah, get it on your chest. It's close to my heart. 2001.
Get it on your foot so nobody ever sees it.
Well, because if you wear sandals, I mean, there are very few places that a guy can get a tattoo and it's not seen.
You could get it like right here, right next to the dick.
You could, but then somebody still. I mean, then the
but
problem
I have to imagine
is,
that's a super painful tattoo.
I imagine, but also then the people who do see it have a lot of questions. Like, then you're getting naked with a girl, and she's like,
stop right there.
I need to ask a few questions.
Number 1, why do you have a Ryan Flaherty tattoo right next to your dick? Number 2, why do you have tattooed pubic hair instead of real pubic hair?
It's a lot easier for upkeep, baby.
This is a problem. This is a problem.
I want to get that. I think I'm going to get the laser on the face and then just tattoo the stubble in. Put that on. I think that'll be a good look. Come in first day of the new job. Boss is like, "Yeah, you got to do clean shaven." It's tattoo, boss. Can't do it. Can't do it. Wait, but the pussy slayer, not a problem? No? Okay, good. Good to know.
This flies in court? Cool.
Oh man.
You could just look at like female state's attorneys and just be like, "What? This is my distinguished look."
Just so you know. I'm just putting it down. You picking it up? I'm just putting it down.
Just stroking your fake beard. Stroking your tattooed beard.
Oh, God.
Just lightly putting fingers across it.
Well, certain women have told me before that the stubble is a good look for me.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's only really a good look when it gets thick. And by the time it gets thick, it gets long. And then you have to, like, use the trimmer. It's hard to get the right, thing. Once I don't have to go to court all the time, then I get to start experimenting with it. Maybe I'll do a Fu Manchu. I don't know. Things are going to get crazy in the next few months. That's all I'm saying.
Do an Iron Man.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do a lot. I'm going to do a lot of chops. I'm going to do a lot of situations. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to play a game called What's Rob's Facial Hair this week.
Here's one that should go on the list, and just put a picture up here.
Yeah.
There used to be a wrestler for WCW named Lash LaRue.
Yes.
Who
we've
had, like,
used
the
him
big
before.
L's.
Yes.
Like it's sideburn L's. That would be great.
That'll go on the list.
Because then it could be like upside down. It could be an R. It could be lowercase R's.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I could do like a C. Maybe we could do a C. Just shave the dimples out and just have the C in the
Have it
face.
circle around the dimples.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like when you contour to show off the best parts of your face. I'm just showing off the best.
Just showing off my features.
Showing off what I got.
Yeah. But so it is.
And then you got to go in there with like the little like one of those like pen razors that like you do to like touch up.
It would not work out well. It's already hard to shave the dimple section. I can't imagine having to curve that around and make it a C. Maybe I could do like the box C. The box C.
Or maybe you just get a little nair and like put it in.
Oh, I feel like that would work out horribly. That's a recipe for disaster.
It never grows back.
Just permanently have C's in my face. Somebody asked you later.
Because it emboldens the facial hair that's there to stay. Don't go anywhere.
There was an unfortunate accident with some Nair a few years ago. This is all I got. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. My film career ruined.
What I don't get is just regarding my own facial hair, and then we'll get into news, is that for the longest time I had like a big spot right here.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it's gone smaller, but I still have like a little bald spot like right up underneath the chin.
Yeah.
And I don't. Something tells me that's just never going to change. That's just part of my.
You're 32 years old.
Yeah.
This is what you're. It doesn't get any better.
These are the cards that I've been dealt.
Absolutely right. It's really
at
all
least
downhill.
At least when I had the playoff beard going and
it
was like a little bit longer, I could sort of like comb it over
scrunch it up a little bit.
Comb over the bald spot.
Or you could just stay clean shaven all the time.
To make it look distinguished.
Keep it as stubble, and then the bald spots aren't as noticeable.
See, but shaving's such a pain in the asshole.
Really not.
I would just rather shave when it's uncomfortable and then let it go and then... I just put the razor on and just get it to like the stubble level, and then just let it go, and then shave and let it go.
But you could do that now. Just get it down to the stubble, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to do it every day. That's boring. That's boring adulting.
Yeah, like you got so much going on. Wow. Well, I guess this week you did have a lot going on.
Yeah.
If you've been following...
all the nights where I was falling asleep at 2 a.m. and...
If you've been following at the Anthem, you also on Instagram, you got to see the late night shenanigans from last night. The last night when we recorded this, Thursday night, of trying to get the latest episode of Heretics out.
I was genuinely worried because... all right, so I've had my laptop go blue screen on me before.
Yeah.
Blue screen of death. And what happened was I was editing. I was doing a little color correction. Mm-hmm. And then I got a little notification in the corner that said, you should close Adobe because you're running low on memory. So then I opened up my memory monitor because I have a little like extension on my computer.
Right.
It tells me how much of my memory I'm using. And it was at like 50%. And I was just like, oh, fuck this thing.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll just work on color correction for another half hour, and then I'll save it and restart, and everything will be fine. Mm-hmm. And then the computer just went black. Like suddenly, like somebody pulled the cord. I was just like...
oh, shit.
All right. Well, maybe something just happened. Like, maybe it's just like, whatever. Like,
maybe I should follow the advice of my computer when it tells me to watch out for things.
And then all of a sudden, like, the screen turns back on, and all it says is, like, error 1962, no operating system found. And I'm just like, no good. No good. This is not promising.
Yeah. But of course you saved your work right up until the moment that...
Nope. Nope.
Going up on a Thursday.
Well, it was auto-saving.
Right.
Like, it auto-saves every, like, 10 minutes. But the problem is that if your computer just all of a sudden just, like... If it has, like, a pulled plug...
Right. The autosaves
are gone because the computer, even a desktop computer, has a battery in it to make sure that it doesn't... Like, so that if you shut it down or you, like, move it.
Right.
Like, like, if I took my computer and moved to a new place.
Saves all the information.
It saves all the information. It saves the time. It saves the...
Yeah.
Like, it operates a little bit behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But when you do, like, a pull plug scenario, it doesn't work. And then I spent a long time researching on the internet for a fix to the solution. And I'd like to take just a quick second for the people of the internet. When somebody is in this position, they feel very vulnerable. They're very upset. They're worried about what's going to happen to their life for the next however long until they can get an operating computer again.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to be a troll. Now's not the time to be like writing in like comment sections. It's like, you just have to pull out the flux capacitor and you'll be fine. Just like, fuck you, you're not funny. You're not funny. But I got it solved.
Right.
A trip to Micro Center and some memory later. Heretics was...
And what time were you at Micro Center? Are they open all night?
Like 7? Something?
Oh, it wasn't that late. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Well, what had happened was I went to Micro Center. I installed the memory, which took a little bit longer than I hoped because I didn't quite get it like snapped in right the first time. Which is funny too because if you don't get the memory in quite right, like I pressed the power button and then it started up and it was just like the Windows logo popped up and then it was just like, nope. It just disappeared. And then all of a sudden the computer's making noises like beep, 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 beep. And I'm just like, all right, so something's wrong.
Yeah, not good.
That's the clear sign something's wrong. But I stayed up late. I got it done. Everyone seems to enjoy it.
Yes.
If you have not seen Heretics Episode 3 Celebrity,
yes,
go to the Facebook page. It'll be right up there at the top. While you're there, like, comment, share, all those good things.
Okay, listen, people who've listened to us.
Yeah.
We have a wide-ranging listener base. We have many, many, many fans on Facebook. And I know the algorithm has changed and things get bumped around and maybe you didn't see it. We only shared it through about 15 separate accounts that we have between the two of us. And you may not have seen it there. Go find it. Go to Oh the Anthem on Facebook. Like the video. And more importantly than anything else, share the video to your friends. Because the only way that more people see this is if you share it to people and they get to see it. And literally, this is how simple it is. You go up to that bar on the top of Facebook. You type in O space THE space ANTHEM. It's going to be your first result. Click on it. If it's not your first result, you haven't liked the page. Why haven't you liked the page? You should like the page.
Yeah.
Once you've liked the page and you're on the page, you scroll down. It'll probably be one of the most recent ones after this podcast.
Right.
And then you're going to click.
I'll pin it to the top for a while.
There you go. So then you're going to click on the like. Maybe if you really like it, you push and hold on the like. And then it gives you a couple of options to react. Maybe you click the ha-ha. Maybe you click the wow. Or the wow, the love. Anything but the angry or sad. Really, is really okay. And then...
David Miscavige said. And I'm just like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, what are you going to do? And then so when that goes away, now you're going to see that your reaction or your like is on the left. The middle button is going to be comment. We welcome your comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Great. The button next to that is going to be the share button. You click on that. It's going to give you 3 options.
I think you should slow down because I'm pretty sure people are trying to write this down while they're in the car. Okay. This is just not good for anybody. So the share button, what does it do again?
It allows you to share it, but it gives you 3 options. You can either share now, share, or share in a message. You want to click the easiest way. Is just click that top button, share now. And it'll put the exact copy of what you're reading on your own wall for all of your friends to see.
Or if you press share and then want to write like, wow, hilarious.
If you want to take the extra effort, great. Then you click the second option, share with an ellipse. And it'll pop up and it'll give you a little thing and let you put in your own little code or your own little saying or whatever you want to say, like how great it is. It's awesome. This is the best episode yet. Make sure you check it out. Click there. And when you click post, that one takes the extra step of also clicking post. If you click share now, it just does it for you.
Yeah.
Everything for you. But in any event, find a way to do it. Click share. Share it with a friend. Go to YouTube, watch it on YouTube, share it to your Google Plus friends.
Or if you're like one of those people who's just like, oh, I don't really do the Facebook thing that often. Like I go on there and check out my other friends. I don't really like post things.
Yeah.
Then an option for you might be just telling a friend.
Right.
Like let's imagine that me and you are meeting at the bar.
Right.
You're here and I'm just walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Rob, how's it going?
Hey. What's up?
You all right? You seem a little down.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. It's been very long.
You know, I saw this really funny video. Maybe it would cheer you up.
I'm willing to try anything.
6 minutes and 5 seconds later.
Wow! Oh my gosh! Who are these guys? Where can I find more of this?
More importantly, where can I give them money? Patreon.com/OhTheAnthem.
I was going to get to that. But no, so share with people, like the video on Facebook. That's the easiest way. You can also find links to it on Twitter. You can also find information on Instagram. Or you can go to ohtheanthem.com. It's in there on ohtheanthem.com. Everywhere you want to be, you can find it and share it and watch it and like it. That's the overarching message.
Because here's the other thing: we talked briefly about cribs in the pre-roll,
which you're missing out on, yeah.
And one day that could be us. We could have a Shaq King,
yeah.
And if you want to see the cool accoutrements, be part of the entourage, be my turtle,
right?
Then
turtle.
Listen, 4 people don't see Steven Spielberg's movie and he makes money. It's basically.
Yeah.
But seriously, I appreciate everybody who said nice things. And,
yes.
We went off a bit of tirade there, but I think it was all in good fun.
And the most important message I have for everyone is we have a new episode of Heretics out. There will be another one out in 2 weeks. And hopefully, God willing, there'll be another one out 2 weeks after that. And for the next few succession of weeks, we will have new episodes.
Assuming that I have an operating system on my computer.
There's no guarantees in life. But if you like the content we produce, if you like this podcast that comes to you for free every single week, if you like the DSUG podcast, if you like Anthem Alliance podcast, if you like Heretics, keep in mind that the best way you can help support this podcast network is to go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/OTHEANTHEM, OTHEANTHEM, and become a subscriber. For as little as $1 per month, you can help us create good content like that. Corey had to rush out and get new memory for his computer, and he would have been unable to do that without the loving support of our sponsors on Patreon. So thankfully we have some supporters on there who in our hour of need had provided us with the funds that we needed to get that equipment so we could make sure to get it out on time,
right,
and that we can make bigger and better things the more support we have. So go on to Patreon, see the kind of rewards,
like for instance About That Time I Fell in Love is coming up. Needs a lot of money.
Corey has a goal.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of money.
Corey has a goal to raise.
I mean, not like $15 million, lots of money, but like
Corey needs to raise $20,000 a week for the next 6 weeks. That's basically where we're at. So, but no,
I think I'm just gonna have to like take in a sweet old lady.
Hey,
maybe Sherry Redstone. Me and her run off to Cabo together.
But
then she has distribution too, so I'd be okay.
Hey, we'd be fine. In lieu of that, though, go to Patreon, become a supporter, check out all of the different stages. But like I said, for as little as $1, you get access to the Patreon feed, and every dollar helps. When it came time to get the new memory, knowing that we had supporters out there who had donated to us and had provided us with those kind of funds really helps out. And it makes sure that we can get the content out on time, and we can keep producing this fantastic stuff that you guys seem to like so much. So check it out, patreon.com/OTHEANTHEM. That's all I'm going to say about it this time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
On to the more somber news.
Yes.
We recorded last week's podcast, which came out on Tuesday, prior to the events in Orlando.
Yes, we recorded on Friday, as per usual.
Which is why we didn't mention anything about it last week. Obviously, the standard thoughts and prayers to the family and the victims. And
absolutely.
Nobody should have to be gunned down. But unfortunately, it seems to happen a lot.
Yes, unfortunately.
And I think my overwhelming reaction in the past, essentially week here, is that we need to have a very serious conversation about the term radical Islamic terrorism as opposed to Islam.
Yes.
Just in general. Right. So, for people who don't know, there's 1.6 million... billion. With a B. Sorry. With billion Muslims in this world.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a calculation, if I remember correctly, that the amount that could be considered radical is 0.0006% of 1.6 billion.
It's about 160,000.
Yeah.
100,000 of which are in the areas including of ISIS. And we're including civilians who may or may not actually ascribe to the values of ISIS. But they live in the ISIS-controlled area, so we throw them in there. But Wahhabism and Islamic State and all of those people are all included. And it's a very, very small minority.
Right.
And if you're looking at people who want to discriminate and, in a lot of ways, injure gay people... Islam don't have a monopoly on that.
Yeah.
Christianity done a pretty good job of that already.
Well,
all the major religions really have. 2
points. First, I would be tarred and feathered and dragged out of town by my feet if take Dylan Roof went into a black church, shot up a bunch of people.
Yeah.
If I said, you know what the problem is? The Christians. Because these KKK people are, taking, they're just poisoning the rest of the religion.
Yeah.
If you look at the percentage of Christians who are members of the KKK, it might be higher than 0.0006%.
In fact, I saw an infographic that said that what we might consider radical Christianity, including radical Catholics, is a higher percentage than what we could classify as radical Islam.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you would look at me make a post about, and obviously I wouldn't because I'm not trying to minimize what's going on. I'm using it as an example. But if I went out and said something about Christianity in the same respect, you all would look at me like I'm a crazy person and, you know, a pariah and the worst person ever in the history of the world. Yet we seem to do it without any kind of flinching mechanism with Islam, and it's kind of I mean, it's really bothering me at this point.
Yeah,
because the more, let's take a history lesson of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason the Nazis rose and you know, World War II happened was because people treated Germany like shit after World War I and punished them real hard, and everybody, it allowed this culture to grow. When you are America and you spend all your time saying, let's ban all Muslims, regardless of how into ISIS they are, what varying degree of ISIS sympathizer they are,
right?
You are essentially emboldening people who are on the fringe to get involved.
Yeah.
You are making the people who are comme ci, comme ça about ISIS think, well, the West is terrible. They're out to get us all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I'm not involved in any of this nonsense.
But they're
treating me like, you know, drones are coming by and killing my family. Like, you're creating more terrorists by being these people. So stop. Now, crazy people are going to happen all the time, no matter what. It's a horrible, horrible fact of life. I would be fine if you are of the mind that banning assault rifles is the way to curb crazy people from doing more damage than they would do if they only had allowed a pocket knife or something like that.
Spoiler alert, it's not. But okay, good.
I'm just saying, you know, I don't necessarily see the point of somebody who was on the FBI watch list at various times being able to purchase a high caliber assault rifle.
Yeah.
But that's sort of, you know, too late for that conversation.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. It's nothing is absolutist. And we are trying to make it absolutist. So the day, first of all, Donald Trump wins again with his ignorance, because his first tweet after the news of Orlando is, thank you for
the congratulations on being right about the Muslim thing.
Good job, Donald. Thanks.
Quote unquote Muslim thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. So we had from the, this is, and I told you this before,
Maybe we should just go find pictures of Muslims being good, compassionate people.
Yeah.
And just hashtag Muslim things and send it to Trump.
Okay, listen, Alliance. We are putting a call out to you right now. Find pictures of Muslims doing kind things and hashtag them Muslim things and send them to Trump.
What would be great is if you saw like a Muslim man mowing the lawn for an elderly neighbor who can't do it. Like, take a picture of that and then just hashtag Muslim things at real Donald Trump.
At real Donald J. Trump.
Real Donald J. Trump.
And, or how about this? Men and women who cannot eat or even drink water between sunup and sundown, standing out in the hot sun to hand out food and water to other people who are donating blood.
Yeah.
In Orlando.
Right.
Boggles my mind. And so here's was my point. This is the perfect political event for both parties, because on the Democratic side, the moment that it was over and the moment that we had said our thoughts and prayers and had our moment of silence,
which lasted about, like, honest to God, 30 minutes.
It felt that way. It felt like Sunday. By the time the Sunday morning shows were over, we were jumping into the political action of it. And the Democrats were screaming, this is why we can't have these guns. These guns are dangerous. We need to ban these guns. Ban guns. Ban. And the Republicans were saying, here again's the Muslim problem. And here, you know, if we didn't let all these Muslims in, it wouldn't be an issue.
Right.
Perfect. It's the perfect thing for, and listen, it's been well published. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's either of these things. I think, though, that the media has the ability to control the narrative.
Well, here's one for you, that there's no conspiracy involved.
Mm-hmm.
Take out Orlando.
Yeah.
Take out San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
Time frame of now, from between 9/11 and now. How many other attacks can you really pinpoint.
Well, it depends. If you're using the definition that crazy people use for mass shootings, there have been 188 per year.
Well, yeah, but that's using the logic that some of these things count for Obama and some of them don't count for Reagan. And
well, no, if I shoot,
are you talking about that infographic where it was just like the Obama mass shooting thing is like way the hell?
Well, no,
like 20 for Bush, and
it's that they redefined mass shooting to include more than 2 people.
Yeah,
but that includes if I shoot my wife and her boyfriend that she's cheating on me with, and myself. This is a mass shooting,
right?
I don't count that as a mass shooting.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, there is violence in our country. We have an increasingly big problem with violence. Absolutely. We have a problem with easy access to guns. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you can't, it's not as easy as saying ban the guns or ban the Muslims. Do we need to take better actions about keeping out radical Islamic terrorists? Yes. Do we need to do a better job about keeping out radical Christian terrorists? Yes. Radicals altogether. Radical atheist.
I'm trying to figure out right now. I don't know what the percentage is.
Yeah.
But do you think there's more people in the Westboro Baptist Church who live in Kansas? Mm-hmm. That's where they're based, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Percentage of Westboro Baptist Church members to Christians in Kansas as opposed to ISIS or, radical Islam to Muslims worldwide.
It depends how small the percentage is, but
it's a compelling.
There are several hundred members of the Westboro Baptist Church. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, arguably you could say it makes, at least in that part of Kansas, it makes up a big portion of the Christians. Yeah, and they're allowed to exist. So is the KKK and the neo-Nazi groups, all of which are very much Christian based.
But I'm saying, like, we look at Westboro and we say, oh, they're just crazy loons or whatever.
Yeah.
And we are able to separate that from Christianity, but we are not able to separate, for whatever reason, as a people right now, we are not able to separate,
because Christianity is here.
Good people from bad people.
This is our religion, so it's easy for us to say this is not what I believe.
But it's not it's the most populous religion in the country.
Yes.
But there is no religion. There is no, that's part of the deal. If you're going to spend as much time as you are, not you specifically, but I'm just saying people in general, if you're going to spend as much time as you are defending the Second Amendment, then I would also think that it's quite hypocritical if you're going to say ban all Muslims from coming in because they're first. Yeah, first is.
But here's the thing. That is the juxtaposing that argument, which is
Founding Fathers had it right, except for the First Amendment with this Muslim shit.
But if you're on the other side of the argument, you're saying that we should have the right to protest, we should have the right to free speech and free press, and you should be free from searches and seizures, and you shouldn't have bail that's too much. But those guns, they didn't really know what they were talking about with those guns.
Right.
And my shutdown of arguments that has actually worked to shut down arguments has been like, there's been this thing going around with George Washington and saying, for fuck's sake, we were talking about musket balls, not shooting 13.3 rounds per minute. And my response to that is, for fuck's sake, we were talking about single print papers and saddlebags, not the internet and horseless carriages.
Yeah.
Either we have to accept as a culture that the Constitution is a living document and it's meant to be read in the culture in which we live, or it doesn't. And if that's the case, then great. The fact that you are driving a car, that the Fourth Amendment does not apply to that, and you are not safe from searches and seizures in there. And if you say shitty stuff on the internet, it's not protected by the First Amendment, because there is no way the founders could have ever envisioned an electronic web of computers talking to each other where we can post information.
Maybe Ben Franklin, but he was ahead of the time.
He could have. I mean, I think he could have envisioned us being able to talk to each other easier, but that is a concept that, again, there is the idea of like aliens landing and us talking to them. That's the same thing of those people being put in today, and Ben Franklin being like, what is with all these crazy people talking to themselves? Oh no, they're talking on the phone to other people. On the what? They have a device in their hand that has access to all the information in the history of mankind and also allows them to communicate with anyone on the planet, so long as they have a 11-digit number.
Right.
The particular identified 11-digit number of another person. And we can get more than one 11-digit number if we really want to.
10.
11 with an international code.
Oh, okay.
And so on the planet. You know.
Yeah.
So can you imagine explaining to a founding father that this device that I have in my hand not only accesses all the information ever to a guy who literally wrote things.
Yeah.
Like, was making shit up. But, you know, this has... You remember all that stuff that got burned in Alexandria? They found about a bunch of stuff. Do you want to read some of it? You know, like... you know that some of those Renaissance guys that you really liked and you used? Well, we can pull up some of that stuff right now if you want. And you know that letter that you wrote to that guy in 1774? I can actually pull up a copy of that. And I saw that you had 3 drafts of it. I have all 3 drafts. Which one do you want to look through? No ability.
Yeah.
No ability to understand that. So either the Fourth Amendment doesn't apply to this device, and neither does the First, or it does. And I argue that it should. It's a living document. But in that case, then the idea of the Second Amendment was parity between the government and civilians.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that the entire purpose of the Second Amendment is, you know, obviously written in long ago terms, well-regulated militia.
No.
What?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hold on. Part of the reason why the Second Amendment has held on for so long is because the idea that you should be able to defend yourself against a tyrannical force.
Yes.
That comes against you, whether it be foreign or abroad, or home or abroad. Mm-hmm. You know, we had a civil war in this country. You know, there's opportunities where some people would have to defend themselves.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump wins the presidency, there might be another civil war.
Vote Trump 2016.
At which point, I may invest in a gun, despite the fact that I'm far more likely to hurt myself than I am to hurt others.
Or someone you love.
Yeah.
Maybe not yourself. Maybe someone you love. Yeah. No, but so it's all about construction. We can get into a construction argument that says that the first clause of the Second Amendment says...
Because God knows I would just leave the gun on top of the chair, like...
knock it over.
Tossing my shorts on there at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they are 15s there.
So the Second Amendment says, a well-regulated militia being key to a free state, comma, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. These are 2 separate clauses. They exist separately of the other. One is not dependent on the other. They're not dependent phrases. They are independent phrases. That all aside, it doesn't matter. Let's even say, in their day, the militia was every able-bodied man.
Yeah.
When we think of the Minutemen, you think of like some guys with insignias? No. Literally, they rode town to town and said...
Picked up farmers.
If you've got a musket, grab whatever ammo you have and get out to Lexington and Concord. That's what we're doing. The guys who confronted the British on all of these battlefields up and until the Continental Army was organized were just farmers. Just regular old folk.
Oh, when the Battle of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Fort McHenry. The first stage of that
Point?
was the Eastern Shore, with just a bunch of farmers shooting at the British Navy.
Hell
the greatest navy the world had ever seen was being shot at by people who poop farm.
I don't want to say poop farm, but there's, yes.
Well, I don't know what else they could possibly be doing, because every time I go down there, it smells like poop. It smells, reeks of shit.
Okay, but nonetheless, when they landed at North Point,
yeah,
the first group of people who met them at North Point were militia.
Yeah.
Which were the people of the area who got their arms and held them off long enough for some of the actual organized reinforcements to arrive.
And listen, I'm not pro-gun. I'm not a gun owner. I don't necessarily want a gun. And I think that there's a very real middle ground where we can essentially come together. Part of the problem is that the NRA, I think the NRA learned a lot from, like, cigarette smokers, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had this talk before.
Yeah, because, like, there was a time where you could smoke anywhere you wanted, on planes and hospitals, blah, 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 blah.
Give a little bit.
Yeah, and then eventually people were like, listen, you can't smoke in the hospital. There's sick people here. It's like, all right.
Fair enough. Okay.
I understand.
Sure.
I understand the point. I'll help you out by going to the smokers lounge at the end of the hall.
Right.
And then it's like, listen, we can't have the smokers lounge anymore. It's still causing a problem.
Go to the lobby.
I'll go to the lobby.
Yeah.
I'll get away from all the patients.
Well, the sick people are waiting in the lobby to get out.
So you're going to have to go outside.
Okay.
All right, I'll go outside. Listen, there's people who are coming in where you're standing and smoking your cigarette. You're going to have to go off the property.
Right.
All right, I'll go on the sidewalk 100 yards away. Listen, the sidewalk is part of the hospital property. We're going to have to ask you to go a little bit further across the street.
Yeah.
Something tells me that the NRA sort of learned from these types of lessons that happened
100%.
with people who are quote-unquote pariahs,
Yeah.
at least seen in this sort of sense, and said,
No.
yeah,
Give none.
Don't give anything.
Draw
don't
no
give,
quarter.
Yeah, don't,
because they know they will never eliminate.
I don't want to have background checks for the criminally insane. I don't want this. I don't want that.
Because they know you will never eliminate them completely. So if they fight everything, and you make it absolutist, you make it all or nothing, you will always keep all. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's a dumb lesson. It's a smart lesson to learn. Give no quarter. We give nothing. But it makes you look like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And it makes you put me on the same side as those fucking people.
Right.
And that's what pisses me off.
Right.
Because then when I say things like, well, the amendment is there for a reason, and I accept all of the amendments. In my mind, you can't pick and choose the one you like. We have to acknowledge all of them, and then you put me in the group with that crazy people.
Right.
But
there's no way to defend individual aspects of gun ownership without eventually, like, if, the normal everyday citizen. I imagine if there was one person who was decided to judge, just average Joe American, was asked to judge gun ownership, and like one guy comes in and he's like, I just have a handgun in case anybody breaks in. All right, well, I think you should be allowed to have it for self-defense. Yeah. You seem like a perfectly reasonable... That's okay. Keep your gun.
Yeah.
Next person comes up and it's like, I think the government's going to come get us. All right, well, I don't know how I feel about that, but certainly within your rights, so...
Right.
Go ahead. Take your gun. Go in God. And then the other person who's like, I want to shoot a school. I'm like, well, no.
Okay.
You're done. You're out. I think generally speaking, there's people who are saying like, all right, self-defense is a perfectly reasonable reason to have a gun. The militia argument in modern day terms is also part of it. But we need to have rules about people who are on terrorist watch lists or people who have spent time in some sort of asylum or I
have a proposal for you.
Okay.
Now, at one point on this podcast, in a controversial episode, I'm sure, I proposed a solution to the abortion problem. Because although I am pro-choice, I, like most people, don't like abortion. I wish that we could have 0 abortions in this country. And I said, here's how you get 0 abortions. You make contraceptives widely available and free to everyone and anyone who wants them. And then you cut out programs that support untoward pregnancies. And you encourage people to be educated and to know you encourage education programs and you encourage free contraceptives and you make healthcare widely easily available.
By untoward pregnancies, are you talking about like 2 16-year-olds who did it and now one of them's pregnant?
No, because I think that can be defeated by education and contraceptives. Mm-hmm. Because when you have nothing but abstinence only and people don't know what condoms are or what birth control is, that's when 2 16-year-olds get pregnant. Yeah. What I'm talking about is maybe people who are like, oh, what's the big deal? I can have another baby because somebody else is going to pay for it. That kind of stuff. And not saying that anybody does that, but, let's just say some people do that. So, so we make it a disadvantageous thing for someone to just live off the government dole and to continue to have children. And we make education a priority so that young people stop having kids. And we're going to see that number of abortions go way down. Way down. So, here's my proposal for guns. Number 1, there must be testing. There absolutely must be a process. Maryland has a really good process. We have a handgun qualifying. We have testing that must be done. You have to go sit through a class. You have to go get fingerprinted. You have to do a whole bunch of things. I dig that. I think Maryland is right basically in the middle of where we need to be. Some states do too much. A lot of states do too little. But I think Maryland's in the middle. Let's do that. Let's say that if you have ever been institutionalized, maybe you get a little more scrutiny. And I'm not going to say it eliminates you forever, because I think that also keeps people who need mental health care from going to get mental health care. Because then they're like, well, if I go, then I'm going to get off the list and I'll never be able to own again. And now the crazy that could have been controlled is just out of control. So we make it a higher scrutiny level, but not necessarily a elimination.
Yeah.
If you want to add watch lists, great. I'm with you. But somebody's got to have oversight over those fucking watch lists. Because if I piss off a girl who happens to work at DHS, I don't want her putting me on a motherfucking watch list that gets my rights taken away.
Right.
Let's also talk about how criminal records can eliminate you from gun ownership when it really shouldn't. There are some laws that if you get convicted of a gun crime, even if it's not a violent gun crime, you lose your rights. All of that stuff. So people, instead of reporting things, it causes people to hide. So if we eliminate all those things and we say testing, and you have to show proficiency. You want to buy an AR-15, you need to show that you can shoot a semi-automatic weapon, a semi-automatic assault rifle well.
Yeah.
Once you prove that you can shoot it well and that you're responsible enough to own it, you can have whatever you want.
So, sort of like the advanced driver's license test that we had talked about, like the...
Yes.
Like,
yes.
if you can go pass the test while on your phone the entire time, then you have the right to do it all the time.
Now, and if you can't handle an AR-15...
Yeah, like if you go in there to the testing facility and it's just like... and you're like, can't control it, then
you don't get one.
Yeah.
And it's just that easy. And it's just like... And you know what? If you can't drive a goddamn 18-wheeler, you don't get to drive one. There are levels of licenses that show proficiency. Do the same kind of thing. And you do testing, and... much like a CDL, you have to go in and retest every so often. We have to do a mental health evaluation to make sure that you haven't gone off the deep end in the meantime.
Right.
And I am not opposed to eliminating assault weapons. That's right. You heard me say I am not opposed to eliminating the sale of assault weapons. This is my caveat. If we don't have access to them as citizens, the police should not have access to them in law enforcement. So, you want to take away my right to have an AR-15 or Sig Sauer, MK556 that the guy used to shoot up the club. Great. I'm okay with giving that up. If I know that the police officer is going to come possibly oppress me, and let's be honest, in America in 2016, most likely oppress me, shoot me in a hallway when I got a pellet gun in my room, that kind of thing, with one that says, you're fucked on the side of it.
Same gun, right?
Same gun.
Yeah.
No. What they claimed the guy had an AR-15. What the officer had was an M16 because it was of the military variety.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not true. No, it was an AR-15 because he bought it himself.
Yeah.
And that's
and then
what
had
he had.
The "you're fucked."
You're fucked inscribed on it. Yeah. So if the police don't have access to that weapon, I'm fine with not needing that weapon myself. Now, not a lot of gun advocates are going to go that far, and I can tell you that that'll never get passed. But if you're asking me, that's what I'm fine with. I want parity with law enforcement.
Yeah.
So if you are allowed to have it in law enforcement, I should be allowed to have it as a citizen. And don't bring some bullshit about SWAT should be able to have it. Great. If SWAT can have it, I can have it. As long as I show proficiency and as long as I'm tested and licensed and I have all the ability to have it. I am totally fine with restrictions on constitutional rights. There are restrictions out there. You don't get to claim that you're just any religion. There is now a test through the IRS, of all people, that says whether or not you're a qualified religion. Freedom of speech is limited. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. The right to protest is limited. In a lot of places, there are free speech zones where you can protest anytime. There are other places where it has to be licensed and you have to get a permit and all that kind of stuff.
Right, because you can't just march down the street.
Right.
Randomly on Pratt, just like,
can't just block traffic. But you can go down the sidewalks as much as you want, as long as you are not stopping traffic from passing. That's it. I am fine with those kind of conditions. And that, when you make me out to be like these people who are saying nothing at all, just because I think it's okay that I like the Second Amendment and I think that we should embrace it, you're doing more disservice. Because when you toss me in with them, you're pushing me their direction. Because when you do that, what I hear is, I don't want you to have any guns.
Well, going back to the argument I was bringing up about, taking the far element of, in that case, religion.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's people who are, never ever take my guns, no matter what. I should be allowed to have, rocket propelled grenades and whatever I want. Anything I can possibly buy, I should be allowed to have. There's people who are like absolutely no guns ever.
Right.
Every single person gets their guns taken away. And then there's people who fall in spectrums of the middle. And I feel like somewhere in the middle is the right answer to this. But probably, like as hard as it is to, I mean, any single time there's a mass shooting, it becomes a conversation about gun rights, which is not the best time to have that conversation because everybody's...
John Oliver's point about elections.
Everybody's really fired up about it.
We can't change the rules of the game in the middle.
Yeah.
We need to wait until everyone's got cooler heads. Because again, when I hear people start talking about taking guns, the rational part of my brain doesn't work. I start reacting, and that's what we don't want to do.
Yeah, the id takes over.
Exactly. Don't take my guns. And when I start, I realize that on Twitter, I start moving a little bit to the right, and I'm like, okay, this is not who I am. I'm not this guy who's arguing for absolute rights, and I have to come back. But you push me that direction when people make that argument. Don't do that. Let's be rational people. And the same thing with immigration. I am not saying just let everybody in. And I was never saying that about the people who are
Syrian refugees
fleeing from war. I'm not saying let's just open the doors and let everybody in. I've always been, whether they're from Mexico or Syria or Canada for that matter, let's make them go through a test. Let's do what they did in Ellis Island, where they stuck you on a place. Have you ever done the Statue of Liberty tour?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so they had the island where you'd come in, they'd stick you here, make sure you don't have any diseases, you don't have a criminal record, all of that stuff, and then once you pass everything you need to pass, they let you in.
Yeah.
I'm totally for that. I hate quotas because I hate the idea that we pick 20,000 people and we're like, hey, you win, come on in.
Right.
But
you won the lottery.
The green card lottery. Yeah. I hate that idea. But by the way, if you take your citizenship lightly, if you don't go vote, if you don't do jury duty, if you don't do if you don't know your constitutional rights, just know that there are people in other countries who year after year enter their name into a green card lottery to come here.
Yeah.
Because they want a taste of what you were shit out into this world into.
Yeah.
You were lucky enough to be born into these imaginary borders and you get all of these lovely rights. And there are people that would beg, borrow, and steal in order to get that right. So fucking appreciate it, for Christ's sake. But moderation in all things.
Now, the second part of what the story was about, the gay rights issue,
right,
associated here, and I've thought about it. I've put myself in this sort of position, and thought about it. The number of people who have been outed by this, they're dead and out now.
Yeah,
like people didn't, family members didn't know they were gay, and now not only is your son dead, but he was gay as well, and it's a lot of I mean, I absolutely understand why people aren't just out. Because there's still... Obviously, there's a stigma against it. Obviously, there's profound psychological things that happen when people hear it. But... I think about something that you did, or... Think about the if all your walls disappeared kind of thing, Like, you wouldn't want to see people... You wouldn't want people to see you at your... I don't want to say worst, but I mean, like, there's something...
Your deepest secret.
Yeah, you don't want... somewhere deep inside you, there's a secret you don't want people to know.
Yeah.
And if that came out... If you were dead and that came out at the same exact time... then you would feel pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And if you can't visualize that, then I don't know what I can say to you to make you understand. Like, whatever the one thing is that you don't want everybody to know, everybody knew it all of a sudden.
After you died.
Yeah. And now that's the last thought they have of you.
Yeah.
Is that you whatever, collected vintage Barbies. Like...
And the fact that, I mean, it says so much about our society, too. Just that people feel the need to still hide. When I say vote for Trump in 2016, these are all the issues I point. Because we are not meant for this long as a species.
Yeah.
Just the way that we treat other members of the species, number one, of our country, of our families. I can't wrap my head around it. And I wish that I could just give everyone... Life would be easier if we were all robots and we could just like hit the program button and say, so this is how I feel. And this seems pretty logical to me. And I'm a pretty center of the road guy. So everyone should just feel the same way I feel. You're gay? Good.
Yeah.
Enjoy being gay. I'm not gay. I have no interest. If you do, great. Go live your life and be happy. And the idea that there are people who... Can you imagine... You and Rachel, not too much PDA, but there's some PDA. You guys have an affinity for one another. And you show it. Can you imagine living your life and not being able to show that?
Oh, yeah. Like,
just going through absolute horror of, one, somebody finding out and telling people that are important to you. Or two, you're risking your life just for being who you are.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean,
the worst thing I read... And I think you shared this, was the hardest part for the people who were in the club in the aftermath, investigating and like redoing it, and having to block out the sound of hundreds of cell phones ringing and ringing and ringing of friends, family members who were trying to figure out where their, whoever was. Whoever they were trying to reach was, and these phones just ringing and ringing, never going to be answered. And
if I ever have the opportunity to write that into a scene, that will be the blackout scene of an episode.
I'm saying how
haunting.
If you saw that on television,
right,
it would hit you in a place where you, and now.
Yeah. It actually happened.
Yeah, it actually happened, and now, I don't know. I just feel, I know tensions are high, and I understand why. I just feel like there's a lot of people who are trying to jump to whatever extreme they feel they can take from the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my best to, I don't know, like, let's not blame all of Islam for a few... nut bars. Let's not immediately jump to, like a lockdown scenario on guns. And how about we show a little bit of respect for people who have differentiating. Rob and I have different opinions on things.
Yes,
but I don't look at him and go like, "Ooh, God." Like there has to be a point where everyone is just accepting of the fact that people are going to. Be different, and it doesn't make them better or worse, but it's just the way it is. Now, I think we need to do a legit lightning round.
Well, I was going to say, just first of all, the key mantra of the Tao of Fuck It coming this year, everyone should look for that, the Tao of Fuck It coming in 2016, is live and let live. Just, if it doesn't affect you at all, who the fuck cares? Just let it go. Who you marry, any of that stuff doesn't matter. Just let it go. And if we all did that, we would all be happier. If I didn't stress about shit, we can have disagreements, we can discuss them, and we can end that with agree to disagree.
Think about it like this, just as a thought.
Yeah.
We're a society that loves to gossip and judge.
Yeah.
Maybe a friend of yours starts dating an unsavory woman. Like somebody is...
I'm going to say maybe a friend of yours starts dating an unsavory woman.
Are you an unsavory woman? Is that what
no,
you're
I'm saying I date unsavory women.
Yeah, yes. Well. Say I knew this woman before you started dating her.
Yes.
And I knew she was not good.
Right.
She had qualities that were not...
And unsavory.
Yeah, not savory.
Yeah.
Like you gotta... I'm not going to get anywhere trying to force you not to do...
No.
Like, I can tell you...
Give me the heads up.
I can say, hey, I know about this gal.
Yeah.
She's this, and this. And then if you go like, well, I really like her.
Yeah.
All right, well, do it. I don't care.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit back and watch.
If you're the type of person who like obsesses about it and just like constantly brings it up, or like, you know, like if it was me and Rachel like about to go to bed and I'm just like, I can't believe that Rob's dating this harlot,
Miss
like,
Baker.
You're just gonna, it's the WebMD of,
Exactly right.
it's the WebMD of psychology. You're just gonna drive yourself crazy.
Just let it go,
if you
man.
obsess about it.
Just
like,
let it go. Let people live.
Yep.
All right. So we're doing a legit lightning round?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
the butterfly in the Amazon. Like
in Thailand.
In Thailand,
Butterfly in
yeah.
Thailand, causing a tsunami.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't you don't like weed. Fine. The guy in Kansas who's doing it in his basement is not hurting you.
No.
In any way whatsoever.
And in fact, if we legalize it, the likelihood that I get hurt because of weed in general goes way down. Because crime stops. Anyway, not important.
People don't have to buy it illegally.
Right. So, legit lightning round.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Legit lightning round. I'm going to hold you on time.
What are we?
1 minute. 1 minute responses.
Jesus Christ.
1 minute responses. The first one's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Gator attack the little boy at Disneyland. Go.
I can't believe that Florida is probably going to decide this presidential election.
So that's a good reaction. The story about how they crossed barricades, there was signage.
I really didn't get that deep into this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I'm sure I was going to read a bunch of things on both sides that were going to just not give me an answer of what happened. At the end of the day, horrible tragedy, but also horrible tragedies happen. So,
right.
I can walk out of here and get hit by a bus. Everybody would be very upset. At least I imagine some people would be very upset. But that doesn't change the fact that
it's a horrible tragedy.
Horrible shit happens to people all the time.
But, you know,
and
I blame more than, I mean, we talked about comparing this to the gorilla. I blame the parents so much more in this. Don't take your kids somewhere that they're not supposed to be. And the question I asked my dad was, you see a sign that says no swimming. What is your reaction to that? And my dad says, don't go in the water. And I'm like, okay, I think that is the difference between our parents and our generation raising kids. Is our parents see a sign that says no swimming, that means don't go in the water.
See, but
this generation sees it and they're like, we were in wading. That's not swimming. But there's gators in there.
Yeah.
And that kid looks like prey, and the gator didn't do anything but go gator on that kid.
See, but my dad used to like bend the rules a little bit.
Swimming with gators?
No, but he never went to. I think he was always aware of like what rules he was breaking.
Yeah.
And like if they were of, you know, like something that we should be concerned about or not.
Right. It's all about but the problem is that our generation doesn't know shit about that. It's fuck your rules and let's go swim with a gator.
Yeah.
And then the gator goes gator, and then we blame the gator, and 5 gators get euthanized to look for this. It's a tragedy all around, and I blame the parents 100%.
All right.
So next up, we're just going to hit real quick. NBA Finals.
Oh, God. Guys, I've been this day after Game 6.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge basketball fan. Not certainly like I used to be.
The finals will be over by the time this posts.
Yeah,
we don't even know.
So we'll know who the NBA has decided wants to win this thing.
Right.
Because
clearly
every single person I've asked, without fault, like I've said, what is the most corrupt of the 4 major sports? NBA is the one. NBA has had scandals with referees who've impacted the outcomes of games before.
Yeah.
The NBA has way too many things that happen coincidentally, like Cleveland gets the first pick and drafts LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like these sort of things just happen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. All these sort of like, you know, games. I feel like I didn't watch the entire Game 6. I saw a little bit of it, but from the sense that I've had talking to everybody who watched it in its entirety, that there seemed to be some sort of fix in.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to go back to where basketball, or they called traveling, and not every single play ended with a foul.
Right.
And you just let them play. Like,
and where we don't kick guys in the dick. Can we just make that, or can we go back to an age where we didn't kick guys in the dick? Really?
Draymond Green's going to kick you right in the dick.
But I'm not a fan of the NBA. I don't really watch the NBA, but this is not going to help me watch the NBA. By the way, it backfired. If you wanted to get 7 games to get me excited about it, this bullshit about it being fixed does the opposite.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, all right, so
I just don't want LeBron to win.
Anybody but LeBron. So,
I mean, it's like never LeBron.
Yeah.
Hashtag never LeBron.
All right, so the DNC gets hacked, and come to find out, in May of 2015, the DNC decided to back Hillary, and it's been all Hillary since then.
Yeah, where they specifically mentioned HRC.
HRC several times
in
the emails.
How do we
that might
build
not
up...
be Hillary Rodham Clinton. We don't know. Just because everybody calls her HRC, including her fans.
I was trying to think of other people who had R or C in their names. Who was running. No, I mean like...
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
Like, it'd be great if it was like Hillary, Randy, and Corey. Like,
yes.
Which one of these 3 people who are running for president?
Nah.
Nope.
Definitely. Yeah.
Again, we go back. Trump is discernibly bad. Mm-hmm. Like we can see why he's bad. Like his skeletons have jumped outside of his body and is now, dancing with a cane and a top hat. Yes. Hillary Clinton has been doing horrible things behind the scenes for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why anybody is surprised that such a document exists.
We are picking the shinier of 2 turds. It's official.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no such thing as democracy anymore. We have the look of democracy, but there is no... The media has officially become the 4th estate. They are just working for the campaigns to pick... Well, ironically, the Republicans can't control the media on the right, and they picked the candidate.
Yeah.
Fox News picked Trump. And then on the left, the media is essentially forwarding one campaign over the other.
Yeah.
And so we have the 2 candidates that rich people have decided we're going to have, including Sumner Redstone, who controls 1/6 of the media in the United States, and now they're fighting over who gets to control that company.
Yeah.
So
firing half the people on the board and...
Welcome. This is America. This is where we're at as a country. That we're electing the shinier of 2 turds, both of which were selected by media conglomerates, or who are forwarded by media conglomerates, who control together about 1/3 of the U.S. Media. Welcome to democracy. Yeah, I said something about Senator Palpatine earlier, but I don't think that it really matters. Like the Republic is gone. We are in the age of the Empire. I saw a interesting meme that it was like, oh no, now the horrible right sock puppet is in charge. Rah! And you see people like, no, and it's like, and now the horrible left sock puppet is in charge. Rah! Yeah, it's the same damn thing. So Gary Johnson and Jill Stein are great. Dr. Jill Stein are great candidates. Check them out. Vote for your third-party candidate of choice, and let's bring some multi-party politics to this country and try to break this shit up.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. So before we go, let's kick it on down to the city of Baltimore. Get a little local.
We're not in the lightning round anymore. We're going to get into it just a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. Well, we're down in the Baltimore corner where you get the straight dope. Exactly
right. And actually, let's do a little bit of lightning on one topic, and that's the TIFs for Harbor Point, because we did discuss that a little bit.
The thing that I always think about when I look at city spending is, like I make films and I try and find a way to make my dollar go as far as humanly possible.
Yep.
How can I save a buck and put it towards something that's more important?
Yeah.
How do I get a location for free so I don't have to pay for a location and I can...
Or can we rent a place for people to stay and also shoot there?
Yeah. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
When I see... This happens a lot with the ballot initiatives, too, where it's just like, are you authorizing Baltimore County to borrow $3.5 million for improvements of libraries and parks? And you're like, I mean, libraries and parks. And,
right. Yeah.
But you don't necessarily think, like, how is this $3.5 million being spent?
Right.
Like, what is this going towards? And in the case of Harbor Point, which is going to be about, like, 10 city blocks, like, in total space.
Yeah.
They spent $1 million on paving.
Yes.
In addition to whatever they had already
the most expensive bridge in America will now be in Baltimore. So go and check that out, guys. The most expensive public park in America, also in Harbor Point. And arguably the most expensive walkway at $1 million for about 100 yards of walkway.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is in Harbor Point, which already exists.
Yeah.
And we have now approved an even bigger TIF for Port Covington.
Right.
Which the thing that they did there is they said, we're going to create a park. And then we're going to lease it back to the city. And the city's going to take care of it.
How about this as a rule? Like, you know when a billionaire owner says that they can't afford to build their own stadium?
Yeah.
And they get the government to pay for it. And then, without fail, this project becomes more expensive than they had originally projected.
Always, yeah.
Let's say the city, you have a $1 billion stadium and the city offers to give you $500 million towards the construction of it.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you get past the $1 billion mark and the $500 or $500 million has already been gone, the onus is on you. So either get better at budgeting or get prepared to fork out the $1 million on paving yourself.
I'm reminded
because these companies that are doing it, whether it's Sagamore or
just running it up.
Yeah, I mean,
cost.
They have the money to do this if it's important.
Yeah,
but they don't want to pay for it, especially if they can get somebody else to pay for it. And the people who they're getting to pay for it is the people who live in the city, paying their exorbitant property taxes,
but not the people who are getting the improvements. The people who are going to be using most often the most expensive bridge in America, the most expensive park in America, and that most expensive walkway in America won't be paying property taxes because they're going to live in a TIF zone where essentially any property taxes they pay actually go to pay this TIF.
Yeah.
And so they won't actually be paying into the general fund. They'll be paying off this loan that they were given. So they don't actually add to the city at all. And Sagamore and their ilk get to benefit.
It's Cordish and Harbor Point, right?
Sorry, Cordish, yeah. So Cordish at Harbor Point. So they get to all of these nice things that they get the people of Baltimore to pay for and increase the value or what they charge for the units. And they make money, and we get to pay for it, and we get nothing out of it. Yeah. So, thank you, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, and Martin O'Malley, and Sheila Dixon, because if you refer back to our episode on the Old Town Mall, you'll find out that this is the continuation of basically the opposite of what we should be doing, where we have a failure, and we just keep adding to the failure, just to make it worse.
I think the amount of decisions that you're able, or the extent of your freedom with a space should be tied directly to how much you personally contributed to it. So, for instance, Wrigley Field, they were doing renovations to the ballpark, and they're building a courtyard like outside, which is going to be like a beer garden. And there's like a screen there, and like there's going to be apartments and shops and restaurants and all that sort of stuff. The Cubs are paying for that themselves. Right. So when city regulators say, listen, there's going to be rules about when you can serve alcohol and blah, blah, blah. Nope. Be like, you guys didn't pay for a shit on this. So I prefer, like, don't be like dicks. Don't be like, last call's 5 a.m. Like, but like, clearly you should have more leniency than Harbor Point does for anything that they're doing.
Because the city paid for everything.
Yeah, because the city paid for the entire thing.
Exactly right. And, you like that design, that bridge design? Maybe we should have a say about the bridge design because we're paying for it.
Right.
Or we can pave that thing for $500,000 by using different pavers that aren't hand-hewn from the earth in Guatemala and shipped up here on burros the entire way. Let's
pressing down on their diamond-encrusted flatbeds.
Yes, exactly right. So look into the TIFs. We really should do a more in-depth thing about this TIF thing because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
That means we get to talk about Pete Rawlings.
Oh, God. Anyway, moving on to the news of the hour, which is this will post on Tuesday. Yeah. Closing remarks in the Goodson trial are on Monday, which means that by the time you listen to this, midday on Tuesday, he will have been acquitted of all charges. So that's fantastic. Because I imagine that Judge Williams will not give a verdict the same day as the closing arguments.
He'll probably want a day to think about it.
to phrase his
deliberate,
acquittal.
yeah.
Yes, he wants some time to phrase his acquittal appropriately because Goodson is going to walk on all charges.
Yeah.
And we, as we've said before, this can be laid at the feet of only one Marilyn Mosby. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, of all the trials, this was the one that was going to be the most scrutinized because it carried the biggest charge, the depraved heart.
And also the one with the best evidence.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Right. Unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer.
Yes.
I've just been groomed by many over the years. But every single step of the way, I kept saying to myself, why is she doing it like that? Why did they plan it like this? Why? Yeah. What the... Because, I mean, like, to me, I feel like I could pretty much... If I was the state's attorney, any witness that goes up on the stand, I could ask 3 questions to...
Yeah.
And just, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably drill deeper because I have the time. I might as well. But I would probably say something like, question 1, when you stopped at stop 4 and he requested medical attention, why did you not provide medical attention?
Yeah.
And then there would probably be something about like, well, people do that all the time. They try and act like they're hurt, blah, 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 blah. I would say, okay, it's clear from the case so far that nobody had read the general order about seatbelts in the back of the van. Yeah. So where in the general orders, because clearly you must know this if you're acting upon it.
Right.
Where in the general orders does it say that you are allowed to refuse medical attention for somebody requesting it?
Well, it doesn't.
Yeah, so, okay. Seems to me like he was requesting medical attention.
Whether or not people abuse it, doesn't matter.
Right, I mean...
people abuse that pesky right to an attorney as well.
I'm sure police hate it when you get locked in the box and they come in and they go like, you're in real trouble. And I'm like, I want an attorney.
Yeah.
Shit.
So inconvenient.
Why do people always have to have proper legal representation?
Yeah.
I mean... It seems like every side that the defense is going to win this thing on, are things that could have easily been just let it in, let it in, and then shoot it down.
Keep in mind, the defense doesn't win this. The state lost this case.
Oh yeah,
the defense didn't have to do anything because the state botched this case so badly.
Yeah.
From every angle.
The one they should have paid the most. I mean, Nero. Really had no hand in this.
No.
I mean, he had a hand in it as much as he was a cop who was there.
Make a fucking deal with Nero and get him to testify. What are you doing?
None of them are going to.
Now?
No, I mean, none of them were going to.
I guarantee you could have. You could have gotten 1 or 2 of them to roll over just being scared. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it. Just being scared. But now they're not going to because now everybody's going to fucking walk.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Testimony at this trial included a paramedic whose first words upon seeing Mr. Gray were, "Oh my God, what the fuck did you guys do?" to the police officers.
Yeah.
That is the kind of bombshell I want in the courtroom.
Right.
And had you not hid evidence in a clear Brady violation from the defense, which, by the way, is the modus operandi of the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office, as we found out from basically any in-depth investigation, whether it be this case, Freddie Gray, or Keith Davis, or Adnan Syed, or any case. We find out that the state's attorney basically has a policy of, if they don't know about it, don't tell them.
Yeah.
And then when it comes out later, we'll try to cover and give it to them at the 0 hour.
Yeah.
And hope
when they have no time to go over it or
And Judge Williams, to his credit, was just like, no, you don't get to do this. So in exchange, this is what they get to do.
Yeah.
And it's sad because Marilyn Mosby has played games, and because of that, there will be no justice for Freddie Gray.
Yeah.
And descriptions of them feeling his neck and it feeling like a bag of gravel, that this injury clearly occurred. He was running, and he ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And what happened in between those two things was an arrest and a ride in the back of a police car. Or a police van.
Yeah.
So, something to do with the police inevitably led to this.
Right.
And the fact that she can't convict anyone on anything, and after this will not get any convictions.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
She will be... She might as well... I mean, she's not going to drop the cases, but she might as well. It's a exercise in futility.
It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort.
Everybody's going to ask for a judge trial, and it's all going to be the same evidence over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, thank you, Marilyn Mosby. You've proven, once again, there is no justice in the city of Baltimore. And here's the bigger issue. If you've been charged and convicted of a crime in the city of Baltimore in the last 10 years, maybe there's evidence you never saw or your attorney never saw. Because the policy of this department is to hide it as long as possible.
Right.
And maybe they got away with it in your case. So,
yeah.
This is what justice looks like in Baltimore.
Maybe there was a video that cleared you, but they just didn't bring it up.
Yep. Maybe there was a witness statement. Maybe that somebody made a statement and then got talked to by the police officer and made a new statement. And the only one they gave you was the new one, not the original one.
Right.
Which allowed you to impeach the state's only witness about that statement.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it doesn't matter.
I mean, I think we go on and on about the take your medicine mayor, but I think if we've learned anything over the last year and a half here, that the police department is horribly corrupt.
Yes.
And has very big organizational problems.
Yes.
The state's attorney's office is not very good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
The city council is
horrible.
feckless.
Yeah.
And the mayor is out of control.
And to cut back to our previous topic, the BDC, also horrible. The planning department, also horrible. Basically everything in this government of this city is horrible.
It just seems like this entire year has been about exposing how corrupt and terrible every single aspect of your city services are, which makes you wonder, why are you paying so much for these things that are failing you so consistently?
And you voted for the establishment candidate for mayor.
Yeah.
So welcome to more of the same for the next 4 years. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. No new blood in the city council.
Nope. Well, no, there is some new blood in the city council.
But I mean not
nothing substantially different.
Nobody who's going to fight against.
You pick the left sock puppet instead of the right sock puppet.
Right.
Good job. Yeah. So if you're frustrated, you should be. And here's the thing: I have ultimate faith in Baltimore, and I don't think that there will be the same violence that there was before. But you are gonna see uprising too. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna see riots too. And it's important to know that those are two different things. Riots were one thing. The 17 straight days of marching and civil disobedience, that was uprising. And that is going to come back with a fury when Goodson gets off. Maybe not when Goodson gets... Probably when Goodson gets off. But also the rest of them.
Well, I mean, the Goodson one, I think everybody from the distance said this is the one.
Yep.
He's the driver. He would be the one responsible for giving said rough ride. I don't... did they at any point... I didn't even see this. Did they at any point bring in anybody who ever had a rough ride?
No.
Or talked about what...
Yes, they had people who talked about that there is an acknowledgement of this systematic problem.
Because, I mean, like, it seems like the entire argument that the state was making against... Or, like, for a rough ride happening was things like running a stop sign and, like, going over a double yellow or...
Well, because, strangely enough, the videos that they turned over to the defense, the ones that were used at trial, were highly edited. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we know. The problem is you're dealing with a state's attorney's office who has a working relationship with the police and wants to get convictions but doesn't want to lose that relationship with police. When you have a hand and a glove and they fit together, it's hard to then turn around and try to beat the hand with that same glove.
Yeah.
Because you know that you need to work together as soon as this is done. Or, by the way, at the same time. These 6 are examples of one thing, and tomorrow she's got to have a rape trial or a theft trial where she needs the police to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Fire them all. Fire all of them. Bring in all new people. That's really the...
Or bring back this old chestnut. Hashtag do your job or quit.
Wingo. It's sad. I mean, I don't know what to... The future of Baltimore is grim. And if the Orioles don't get their act together, even the bright spot of Orioles baseball, first place Orioles, might not be enough to save it this summer. So,
well, the Ravens have Trent Richardson now, so.
And I think I read that we have 20 weeks until Ravens versus Bills. So there's that.
Yeah.
So we have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
If there's still a stadium.
If there's still a city.
Comes. Yes, if there's still a city when that time comes. Oh, Christ. So, on a happy note, I'm glad we could end up there. End on a high, yes.
Yeah.
Leave them laughing, that's what I say. So, yeah.
Well, if you want more insight into things that you've been hearing all about, there's only one place to go.
Where's that?
OhTheAnthem.com, Corey at OhTheAnthem.com, Oh The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
It's 443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com for more information about my political blog, my news website, and you can sign up for my mailing list, and also the books which are available on Amazon. And I will say one thing that we've had...
Buy Rob's books.
Oh, hey, there are the books right up there. We've had so much stuff going on this week. I made a video that goes a little bit more in depth about my thoughts about Orlando. And I haven't had a chance to post it because on Monday I recorded DSUG, and on Tuesday this went live, and on Wednesday I edited DSUG, and on Thursday it came out, and then Friday was Heretics, and now it's sitting there in my queue, unlisted at my YouTube, waiting to come out. So I think I'll drop that this weekend. So go back and check out that video. It goes a little more in depth on my thoughts about Orlando. So check that out. So it's a 5 minute of freedom video. I'm bringing back. I'm going to start doing a few more of those, I think, of the 5 minutes of freedom video. So,
all right, sounds good.
All right, so check that out there, and it'll be available at robertncheek.com and on my YouTube account. So,
all right, well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good.
Well, we've done better than most, I assume.
Indeed. So, as always, you're listening to the Oh The Anthem podcast, part of the Oh The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
And remember, sharing is caring.
Please share.
Please rewind.